Hey troopers, Game Rookie here, and this is Game Rookie Chat. Now, I say the best for last because now, my friends, my fellow gamers, we are moving to the creme de la creme. Actually, too soon. Okay, so we will get back to the actual game area. But for now, you can see that there's a table in the corner there. That table currently has a that is essentially an older computer monitor. However, it does actually have an HDMI port, and so that monitor as well as that area. I have a couple of ideas. I think I'm going to use that area kind of as a work area for editing videos. And of course, it will double, because remember, that is a monitor with an HDMI port. So it will double as not only a workhorse, but it will also be used for gaming if and when I decide that I want to upscale the Sega Genesis gaming experience to an HDMI experience. And so I know for the purists out there that can be problematic, because we'll be stretching from a 4:3, I believe, display ratio to a 16:9 ratio. So the old standard ratio compared to the current widescreen ratio. So again, that monitor will be used for work purposes and also to upscale if and when I decide to do that with the Sega games. And also, I have a PlayStation 3 that I'll sorry if my hand is shaking, guys. I am holding this obviously with my hands. So yes, we'll be using that monitor for those two purposes, for editing, and then actually for upscaling the older games, as well as using it with the PS3 that I currently have. And sometimes we'll take a break from the Genesis stuff and maybe do some PS3 videos. It's not exactly retro, but it's definitely several generations behind where we are at this point in time. So one more thing I want to show you, and I think you can kind of see it, is the closet there. If I could reach it, I would, but I can't. So just know that right now there's a bunch of Christmas stuff in there and some more craft stuff. Eventually, I saw in a video by the channel Disc Cart, so definitely check out Disc Cart. That's DISKCART, and got a really great idea to remove the closet door and actually use that as a display. Again, you'd have to check that out on Disc Cart, because I don't think I'm explaining it well, but I thought it was a really good idea. So we may or may not remove that door and kind of use the closet as visible storage, for games and things like that, or we may not. I am currently renting, so that may not be the best idea, but a door can easily, be put on and off of its hinges. So without further ado, let's get to what you guys came for. And that is, again, the actual game setup. So let's see if I can put this back on the TV or the computer mount here. You guys are seeing my big belly. Again, no fat shaming. There we go. Okay. Let's see. So let's again, this is literally brand new for me to attempt a full North American Sega Genesis collection, and of course the collection will need a place to go. So I purchased this CRT television from Goodwill, a local Goodwill, for $5, just $5. One of the reasons that I believe it was so cheap is because, in fact, I'll show you guys. It only has, can you see that? If you can't see, I'm gonna put my finger here. It only has one input, and that is this teeny tiny RF input. Okay. Now, for you really young kids, you probably have no idea what RF is. It is essentially if you use a router for your cable service or your broadband or whatever you may have in your home, you probably know what the little coaxial cable looks like. And so it's essentially a coaxial connection, but it was very specific during that era of televisions and gaming to older systems like the NES, Sega Genesis, a little bit early model Sega Genesis. We'll talk about that. Even all the way back to game systems like Atari, they all use those little tiny ports called RF switches or RF connections. Again, they're very similar to what you would stick a coaxial cable in for your cable at home or at work. So so really good deal, I think, $5. For those that don't know, CRT televisions are the big kind of, again, if you look at it, it's got, you can see it's very big, it's a wide screen, but wide the other way, kind of wide like I am right now. And so why the CRT, why go old school? Well, not just because we're doing old school gaming, but because, again, for those that don't know, the CRT responds best to an older gaming system like the Sega Genesis, which we'll be collecting for. And also, my favorite reason why I think the CRT was and is a must-have for any retro gamer, again, my personal number one reason, if you will, is because CRTs are from my understanding, are the only way to play the retro shooter games. So your Duck Hunt, your Operation Wolf, your Hogan's Alley, your Revolution X, right? Any kind of game that is actually made, although before somebody corrects me, I don't think Revolution X is actually a gun game for Sega Genesis, a light gun game. But Sega Genesis does, of course, have the Minister, which was Sega's version, if you will, of the NES, or the SNES Super Scope, or the NES Zapper, which again, we all know about the Zapper from the NES days. If you don't, go do your homework. It was so fun. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, to just shoot those ducks virtually. Don't cancel me, Peter. They were virtual ducks. So, but again, the CRT very important for me personally because I really want to be able to enjoy those classic shooter games. Of course, there's not as many on Sega Genesis as, say, a system like the NES, but I am looking forward to as many shooter games as I can, because again, it's just amazing to think about the fact that you can have the home experience that you had at arcades. For those that have had the pleasure of enjoying an arcade like Dave and Buster's or someplace like that, where you've got the House of the Dead, all these Area 51, all these great arcade shooters, and to feel like you're at the arcade because you're at home shooting at your TV and it's responding, to me that's just priceless. And so that's why the CRT television, even though it's very old and very outdated, and that particular model only does RF. That's one of the reasons why I have this monitor here. so that we can do some HD gaming. Obviously, that's a very small monitor. It's not 4K or anything like that. Obviously, this is the very beginning of our game room, and we will upgrade as time and money allow.